Hey everybody, Rhadamant here. Thanks for tuning in to Stationeers. So last episode, I finished off a little project of mine, the little furnace here. Just a few points of feedback about said furnace. One, the reason why the switches were bugging out is because I had them in linked mode, not normal, and that's my bad. They would have worked fine had they been in normal. Linked mode sort of syncs up everything, and as a net result, what ended up happening was any switch caused everything to turn off like it did, and that's my bad. Putting it in linked mode. Now I also received a tip from Brother Frenchie. He said that if I set up my beautiful little filtration project over here with a carbon dioxide filter for the holding tank, the carbon dioxide filter will pull most of the warm or hot gas out, and that will allow me to more quickly introduce gas into my atmospherics. And the man has a good point, so let's go ahead and do that. So what I'm doing now is making a frame for the atmospherics to sit on, and then I'm gonna need some pipes and cables and the like. So let's put this away. Okay. And then we'll get smelting afterwards. So here's my carbon dioxide filter. I already have the atmospherics on me. Let's see, piping. We need some pipes, probably like 10 or so. I can go grab this pipe. I will need a passive vent, so I'll grab the one that's sitting on my steps and reuse it. I like how disorderly the pipes fling about. That's probably enough. I'll probably need some extra cables, but I'll worry about that in a minute. So let's go hook this bad boy up. So the idea here is the vast majority of what gets pulled out, let's turn that pump off, what gets pulled out of my my filtration here is essentially waste gas, right? It's carbon dioxide that we don't want, because carbon dioxide we have plenty of. We are on Mars. Mars is vast majority carbon dioxide. So the idea here is to filter out all the carbon dioxide, which is relatively, oh, that's an air conditioner, which is relatively cheap to do. And in doing so, we're left with only the gas we actually want to capture, which would be everything else. All the other rarer to come by gases. Alright, so I have one extra pipe. That's cute. I had a stack of one over here, so we'll continue that trend. Plop my passive vent down. Then we have to switch this around to an actual atmospherics unit, because I don't need an air condition. I actually particularly hate air conditioners. They're slow and cumbersome. Alright, slap the carbon dioxide filter in there. And what that will do is, right now, in our holding gases, it's 95% carbon dioxide. That will help to reduce that amount of carbon dioxide down once this is wired and powered on. And the net result is anything in the holding tank there'll be less volume to have to cool. Yes. Okay, so it's all plugged in. That didn't take much. Turn that on, and now you should see the carbon dioxide percentage. It didn't plummet because there's barely any gas in these pipes, and it's hard for the filter to work at low pressures. But it's going to once we do a whole lot of smelting, you'll see it work. All right, so let's turn off all of the pumps and get our little furnace ready for some actual smelting. Alright, so I do believe it's ready. Let's see. Double check in the mold. The mold is working. Cool. Hello, Volatils. I don't know. You came out the chute? I guess I didn't activate it. I don't know. I don't know where these Volatils came from, but I don't mind having extra Volatils. Alright, so this will turn this on. I'm just making sure that everything is in working order. Yep, that turns it on. Obviously, I want that switch off. I'm not trying to vacuum out my furnace. Okay, now we need to grab the stuff we're going to make stuff out of. So, we'll be making, let's see, we'll be making Invar, which is nickel and iron. That's probably the most annoying to make, given its pressure sensitivity. But because I have a vacuum pump, it's not that bad. We're going to make solder, which is lead and iron. That's really, I would say, the easiest to make. And then Constantin, which is really not that bad either. Copper and nickel. So, I need 2 irons, 2 lead, a copper, and... 2 nickel, 2 iron, a copper, and a lead. 2 iron, 2 nickel, a copper, and a lead. Okay, cool. The rest will be just arc furnace. Oh, you know what? Actually, maybe I want the gold, the waste gas from gold. I don't actually know what the waste gas from gold is off the top of my head, but it sounds like I might want whatever that is. So, gold, copper, copper. Any extra stuff that I have, heat or whatever, I can go ahead and smelt. It would have been nice had I made this room big enough for, like, a supply closet or something, so I could store the stuff on shelves, but whatever. My designs aren't perfect. Iterative improvements. Alright, consoles are on. So let's go for the Invar first. What I like to do is fire it up normally first, just to achieve combustion. And that doesn't look like combustion. Alright, so if there is troubleshooting like this, because clearly something wonky and wrong is going on, I'm just going to crack the shell here, because it is nighttime. Oh, that's all it was? I just need to fire it up one more... I feel stupid. And now the trouble is I can't seem to get the angle to put the window back on. Go me. Alright, I guess I have to break a few eggs to make an omelet, you know? Yeah. Note to self, just pound that activate button. That's all I need to do. Alright. So we have, let's see, we have enough temperature and pressure to make solder already. Which is equal parts iron and lead, so I believe that's true. So, iron and lead. Iron and lead is really easy to make. Solder is really easy to make because it's very temperature and pressure insensitive. It don't care. It's probably the first thing you're gonna need to, because it's used for, like, power controllers and stuff like that. Alright, let's switch belts. Now that I'm achieved some heat. So, for Constantin, it needs to be a lot hotter. And for Invar, hotter yet. So let's go ahead and put a lot more fuel in here. So I'm putting 8... Oops, some of that melted. Oops, no, I don't want to do that. Alright, so the pressure is a lot higher, the temperature is a lot higher. At this point, the pressure needs to be between 6 and 7 MPa for Invar, so I'm gonna flood switch. There we go. And Invar is iron and nickel. So I'll find nickel here and iron here. And in the process of throwing in reagents, it might change. But basically, between 6 and 7 MPa, and the temperature is a little less of an issue. Okay, so it kicked a little bit above 7, but if I just wait a second, I should... Oh, no, I'm getting a reagent mix. I don't want reagent mix. I think that's because my temperature dropped a bit too much. Wait, where's all my oxides? Did they all just go poof on me? Well, that's going to be a problem. Mostly because at this point, without any more oxygen, I don't know how much unburned oxygen is in there. But yeah, I'm not going to be able to achieve the temperature for this, or for Constantin for that matter. Just putting in more gases is going to be more pressure. Alright.
Hunger, caution.
Search for the lost oxide. Engage. I'm not actually going to search for oxide. I'm just going to mine some additional up. You are silicon. Oxide's more bluish. I don't know if I'm going to be loading up... Oh, yeah, no. The drain... Oh, there it is. Hello. I already have 47. Let's turn the mining drill off. Ka-chunk. Alright, let's go and see actually what's in the furnace so we know of what can be combusted. That would be a good thing to do. So we have no oxygen in there and some volatiles. Mostly pollutants. Which is good. We're actually trying to make pollutants because we need it for our air conditioning, which is the next project. Let's chomp some fries. And... I might be able to just keep working... Oh, let's vacuum this out. That's what happened to my oxide. Probably just got vacuumed out. Remind the vent to work. There we go. Alright, pressure just skyrocketed, temperature skyrocketed. I got some good combustion here. I'm just gonna feed into it a little bit more. Stoke the fire. Okay, so it's hot. Now I just need to outgas down to 7. And Invar's temperature, that should be fine. This should be actually Invar. Quick, quick, quick. Pressure. There it is. Pressure was dropping, so that's why I said quick, quick, quick. Alright, last but not least, Constantin, which is copper and nickel. Here's copper, here's nickel. And that needs to be above 727 Celsius. It is, and pressure doesn't really matter at all. Alright, boom. All 3 done. I almost didn't get the Invar because of pressure changes, but that's okay. Now I have straight copper. Copper, as a reminder, is really, let's see, temperature insensitive, so I could definitely smelt it. It just needs to stay above 327 Celsius, which shall be no issue at all. And pressure for non-compounds, non-special elements are really simple. I have some silicon that I accidentally mined up. Boom. And then I have the gold. As you can see, a proper functioning furnace. Beautiful thing. I'm just leaving the mold open because as soon as it processes, I can just spit it on out. Boom. Alright. Now, here's the beautiful thing. Let's go see all of the waste gases. Not only am I creating all of these wonderful compounds, but I am also purposefully... Not purposely, but I'm also creating... a bunch of waste gas, which could prove instrumental. So, let's see, what do we have here? We have got, it's mostly carbon dioxide. We've got 200 moles of volatiles left. A bunch of oxygen, actually, and a whole lot of pollutant as well. So let's first, we are going to, let's do this inside, right? Now that we're done, we would want to vacuum out our furnace. And a lot of the gases that were in here were a result of me trying to adjust the pressure for Invar. These gases did not necessarily come from the active vent that's inside of the furnace. That's sipping gas. It's not pulling a whole lot. Okay. That's almost vented out. Then let's dump the carbon dioxide. So here you'll see the carbon dioxide percentage, which is 34%. Should be going down readily. Not super fast, but pretty readily. And it is. The temperature, of course, of this gas is, what is that? 600 Kelvin to Fahrenheit. Because I know Fahrenheit. Okay, it's about the same. 600 Kelvin is 620 Fahrenheit. Whereas it's 326 Celsius. Yeah, it's too hot for me to put it into my atmospherics. But, let's see. We want 20 Celsius to Kelvin. So it needs to be about 300-ish Kelvin. And the furnace is properly pumped out. It's now empty. There should, if I walk back here and confirm, be nothing in there. Pipe analyzer says 0. And then over here, carbon dioxide percentages are dropping. What happened to my volatiles here is they likely interacted negatively inside the pipes with oxygen and combusted a bit, which increased the temperature. As you can see, the temperature spiked back up, and also increased the pressure because the heat expanded the gas and increased pressure. And as a result, I have a lot less volatiles. If you're interested in pulling volatiles or oxygen into your atmospheric system, you really ought to do it, you know, when the other gas is not in there. You can't do both, basically. You do both at the same time, and you're going to end up with combustion, and you're going to end up with a lot of the byproducts of combustion, like CO2 and pollutants. It's a good way to make pollutants, sure, I suppose, but if you're interested in oxygen and volatiles, that's obviously not going to work. Okay, so at this point, the filter has pulled out just about all of the, you know, the vast majority of the carbon dioxide. As a result, we have 1,200 moles of pollutant and almost 1,000 moles of oxygen. So just that little bit of smelting I did, which was some, but it wasn't a ton. Let's compare. I am, for pollutants, I more than doubled the amount of pollutants I have. So the power of gas capture has been established. I saw this like lonely pipe here. Actually, had 5 friends. Decided to free it. Oh, that pipe actually was there on purpose, wasn't it? That was the pipe that hooked up to all of the intake, and I don't want. Yeah, okay. Oh well, whatever. We'll color that pink later. It's no problem. Alright, so at this point, let's see. How much time have I wasted just doing a little bit of smelting? Let's get some wall coolers going on. And we're going to want 6 of those. And then I'm just going to sloppily slap the stuff I crafted. Alright, let me have a proper count. 1, 2, 3, 4. Make sure there's no hanging around. Nope. Alright, 2 more. So these wall coolers will need coolant. I am going to be using pollutant as coolant, as it is the most effective coolant. But if you don't want to capture pollutant, you don't need to. You can use water as a coolant. It's not quite as efficient, but it would save you from having to store yet another gas. Come on. So pipes up, cooler down. I might have to move these around because, of course, the power control area is just above it. We'll see. But it's nice to have your coolers and your heaters kind of in the same spot. So when you're doing the logic for cooling and heating, you don't have to consider that they're in different spots and competing with one another. Because if your cooler's on one end of the room and your heater's on another end of the room, I'm not saying it will always happen, but you could definitely be in a scenario where they are sort of in competition if you don't set up your logic right. So I don't know if these are the permanent positions for coolers. They might not be, is I guess what I'm trying to say. I'm not certain. Oh, I am going to need to smelt. I'm going to need to weld some of these frames so I can actually put the coolers down. And then pull the frame back out so I can maneuver around. Alright, so these are just, I'm just tentatively placing them here. Have no real idea of exactly where they're gonna go. So what I need here is to hook them all up to one another, so that they all share the same coolant line, and then also hook them up to an outdoor radiator, like this. And this radiator is probably over-engineered at this point. Let's take a look at our gas. Almost pulled out every single last ounce of CO2. I'm just going to turn off this filter unit, save the filter, and we'll let it cool down just a little bit more. We're waiting to about 300 Kelvin. Kelvin? I don't know why I'm calling it Kelvin, like it's Hobbes or something. Alright. What we need now is a buttload of pipes, and that is a unit of measurement, according to me. Because our AC is going to require it. Okay, it didn't go. I was curious if it went dark, but it just got out of rendering distance. So if I am to keep the coolers here, the pipes would go straight down. Actually, you know what? These pipes need to be a different color, don't they? This is blue pipe. Oh, no. Actually, it's not blue pipe. It would be pollutant-colored pipe. Because technically the coolers have pollutants in them, so it would be that, like, khaki color here. No, that's not what I wanted to do. There we go. Because technically, yeah, our entire coolant line, despite it being on the blue power network, is filled with pollutant, not its own unique gas or anything like that. So we got to keep the colors right. So the coolers themselves will be blue, but the pipes won't be. A little confusing, sure, but it makes sense to me. And we are... It's like this is like a birth announcement. Congratulations, you have a cooling system. What was I doing over here? I was over here for a reason, right? Oh, blue paint. Yeah. Yeah. Purple, blue. Now, like I said, I'm not exactly 100% sure that this is where the coolers will stay, but at least I'll paint them. I guess I can backpack this. I'll paint them as if it is permanent. So as you can see, the purple battery here is the one that also controls our atmospherics and all that jazz, and it's been sapped of power. I could stack two batteries on top of one another. It would change the logic a little bit, but not negatively enough to matter too much. Alright, so let's pretend that this is exactly where our coolers are going to stay and paint them appropriately. So the coolers will poke out of the finished walls, but the pipes will be hidden as pipes get hidden behind wall units. Next up, we need to take our wrench and remove some of these frames so we can work freely. Okay. I'll put these these sheets there just as a point of reference or remembrance. Alright, so what we need to do is wire these together. This is going to be pretty easy to wire or pipe together. It's just going to look something like this. And then we are going to fill all of these... What color is... I don't even know what color this is. All these pipes with the same gas. They're going to share... They're going to be the same complete network. I'm just going to change the design a little bit. Part of my brain is like, make it symmetrical. Symmetry is awesome. And then part of my brain is like, just make it work. Because, you know... efficiency. Doesn't need to be perfectly symmetrical, but obviously these two sides behave a little bit differently because things aren't perfectly symmetrical. So, and then I also have to label the coolers as well. Now, before I run out of that color, let me go re-up my pipes, and this is why I say I need a ton of pipes, because that giant pile of pipes, yeah, I just ate through that giant pile of pipes. Let's keep that running. I'm keeping a close eye on Mr. Purple Battery. Looks like I might need 2 batteries to feed it. But let's see. The temperature of the gas is good enough that I can start pulling it out and feeding it into my atmospherics system. Whoa. Ow. I can't move. Something went weird with my jetpack there, and it just sort of threw me into a wall. Unlike my last collision, that one wasn't me. It was like... Oh, my W key is not working. Yeah, I can't... Okay, there we go. For some reason or another, I couldn't walk forward for a second. And as a result, it was like I was holding the S key, throwing myself back into that wall.
Jetpack on.
And it's doing it again. Oh, you know what it... What is it? Now, I was gonna think that maybe it's exhaust gas, but there's no exhaust gas here. Huh. I'm curious why I just basically got possessed. But speaking of possession, let's stop cranking out too many pipes because they litter everywhere and I'd have to collect them all. Okay. Is it fry time? Or should I be lazy and just make a baked potato? I don't know. Maybe it is fry time. I'm not going to worry too much about the whole stacking of the oils. I'm going to use my smaller unit. And I'm ruining this potato, dousing it in oil. As you can see, it's it rounds up weird. Yes. 30 milliliters. This obviously doesn't make anything. It makes just one big mess. Oh, that's unpowered. Creating unknown. I want to get rid of this. Okay, I probably have to just use the stacker. If you're curious, if it creates unknown, it doesn't create anything. Yes. Okay. Let's actually do fries correctly this time. Look at all these pipes everywhere. I can't wait to actually have a kitchen. It will be nice, won't it? Okay, back to work. I was working up here. Let's grab the wrench. Done. So that's 4 of 6 connected. Sweet. That also needs to connect eventually down to the the pollutant tank as well, but I'm not gonna have it connect just yet. Now I need to find a way to snake my pipes all the way down. So what I think I'm gonna do is eventually, when I have walls here, the walls will hide this pipe. And although I only need one to snake like that, I'm going to do it on both sides. Nope, that's not how I'm going to do it. Alright, like that. Now let's go match that symmetrically. Oh, now I can't go here either, because there's those green cables in the way. I could change the green cables a little bit, couldn't I? That wouldn't be too hard to do. Let me put my pipes down. I didn't really need such a wide cable U-turn or whatever. Alright. Coloring the rest green, and I haven't screwed green up or anything. It's connected again. Just now allowing for the pipes to run. Alright, let's go collect some more pipes and get some more plumbing set up. It's not plumbing, I guess it's AC duct. Just in iron pipes.
Jetpack on.
You'd think just the way the chutes look that you could do this with chutes, but no, it should be piping. It's more like a coolant line than anything else. All right, where was I? I was over here. All right, that looks ugly, but it'll work. And then this turns in. 1, 2, 3, 4. To be symmetrical, it's gonna have to be a little. I'm gonna have to make some changes. There's something pleasing about symmetrical ductwork. I don't know. So I don't need to do it symmetrically, but I'm going to. So let's fix the other side. Because yeah, this purple line obviously is. I only ran one purple up. Whereas I could have run 2 and added more volume. What is this for? This is for the intake or outflow. All right. And now more pipes. Yeah, if you thought I made an absurd amount of pipes, it takes an absurd amount of pipes. The larger your base, the more pipes you'll have to make. Really large bases, and I've seen some really mega builds online. It is absurd how much plumbing and piping they have. I'm not saying it's bad absurd, it's good absurd. It's a mega project, right? I don't know why. Yeah, I just sort of don't have frames there. Okay, so at this rate, these pipes can intersect a straight cable. That's good. And then I'm not even to where it gets a little complicated, which is running small lines around them. Because that's another thing I'm going to have to do. Well, my jetpack is being a little weird. Not gonna lie, it keeps like thrusting like it has a mind of its own. And before you ask, no, I'm not holding keys down. So it's gonna be really easy to connect the pollutant tank with the volatiles line, because they basically intersect here already. And unfortunately for me, I need at least one more pipe, not to. Oh, actually, no, I don't. I already have the colors saved down below. So, if we take a look at this, just to prove it is one big network, let's go ahead and eat some fries, right? I barely needed any. No, what I meant is, let's grab this. It has the atmosphere analyzer. So this is pipe network 1000. This is pipe network 1000. Means it's the same network. And they're all giving unique IDs. Because this crosses over up here. Pipe network 1000. So yeah, all of our AC coolers are now hooked up to pipe network 1000. Which will eventually tap into our pollutants tank here. Pulling the pollutant as coolant. Speaking of which, I'm sure this pump is done. Yeah, there's a little bit of pressure in there. At like roughly room temperature. I'm surprised this is still pulling. I think it's just because the plumbing network is very voluminous. Oh, you know what it is? It's, this vent just keeps pulling more air into it. If I had actually properly closed the door here when I left the room, it would not have been, it would have been vacuumed by now. Alright guys, well that's about all the time I have for this episode. If you have any tips, tricks, feedback for me, drop me a line. I hope you have learned something, like don't trust your jetpack not to throw you into walls. Next project is probably wiring up the AC ducts, and then I have to think about what to work on next, the lounge or hydroponics. So if you have specific requests in that area, just let me know. I'll catch you all later. Thanks for watching. Adios.